Okay guys, welcome back to the hatchery. I'm Gabe Posada. Today we're going to talk about 5 of the most common ailments that Discus get and what to look for, what to spot. You know, how do I determine what it has, how to treat it? Obviously, you're not going to swallow an Oxitetracycoline to cure a headache. So we want to give you the right medications so that you get it done properly and everything works out for you. The first one we're going to talk about is internal parasites, and primarily internal parasites are caused by hexamida. They could be caused by stress, they could be caused by the fact that the fish ate something that was loaded, internally loaded with hexamida, and we're going to tell you how to look for that. And most people, that's the primary #1 call, is my discus are pooping white, or they have a hole in the head, or they're thinning out even though they're eating. That's usually your indicator that there's internal parasites involved. And when that happens, the #1 rule of thumb is metronidazole. You have to treat them with metronidazole. There are many ways of treating with metronidazole. Some guys will do every 8 hours a treatment because the shelf life in water of metronidazole is exactly 8 hours. So that means that after 8 hours, there's nothing in the water left to treat. I personally like to take it out 10 days rather than 3 days every 8 hours. And what we do is we use 1 gram of metronidazole for every 20 gallons of water. You mix it into a cup of water out of the fish tank and you pour it right in. Now, if your discus are eating, then what you want to do is you want to fold some of it into the food and give it to them for 10 days straight. This will clean them out and it'll prevent any hatchlings or anything being born that is immune to the medication while it's in an egg stage from reproducing or growing bigger. Because if you take it to 5 days and in the 6th day they start to hatch, then you're back to square one. Okay, that's the #1 thing for internal parasites. Very rarely do we get tapeworms or capillaria, which is another form of internal parasites. Those two have to be treated with praziquantel, and I'm not going to get into that right now. It's not necessary because that one hardly ever comes up. Now, the next one, which I always hear about, is cloudy eyes. What causes cloudy eyes? #1 thing is they took a shot to the eye. They're arguing, they always go for the head, they scratch themselves on something, they get startled. It's one of those things. That's the #1 thing. Now, if your pH all of a sudden crashes, this will also cloud the eyes, because remember, the cloudy eye, the eye has a protective layer, and that's what will burn so the entire eye is not lost. In most cases, a little bit of salt, a little bit of stress coat from API that has aloe vera in it, that will get you resolved, and you'll see it start to heal, and you'll see that white circle all of a sudden start to disappear. Okay, but you got to stay on top of it, because if you just let it go, it's possible that the fish may lose its eye. The next one we talk about is fin rot. Now, take bacteria into account and you'll see how it works. If there's a bacterial infection, external bacterial infection, the first thing that's going to be affected are your extremities, your fingers, your hands. It's not going to go straight through your skin and hit your liver. It's going to affect your extremities. That's why you start getting that fin rot. If that happens, that is usually caused by a high organic load. Now, the only way you're going to be able to determine this is with a microscope for somebody to analyze your water. We're not going to get that technical, okay? If you see the fin rot coming on where the fish looks like a sunflower because it's starting to lose its fins, that means that there's a buildup of anaerobic bacteria in your gravel or somewhere that's now coming out of the gravel and attaching itself to your fish. In that particular case, we need to use Oxitetracycoline, okay? And you can look it up online what it is. Hopefully in the near future we'll be able to bring them to you. We're now working on the logistics of that, but nonetheless, look into it. This is how you resolve that, and keep your tanks clean. Make sure that if you've got any type of wood or any rocks, clean very well around it, because we all know that stuff gets in there and starts to just foul out. And then the last one right now that we want to talk about is bloating. Bloating is what happens even to us humans. You eat something, it spoils inside your gut before your gut can digest it, and it just starts to explode with gas. The number one cure for that is Epsome salts. You need to use 1 tablespoon for every 40 gallons. Now, Epsome salt does not go away. That means it's going to stay in the water. So you don't need to replace it unless you do a water change. Once you put the Epsome salts in, you need to bring your temperature up to 86 or 88. This will speed up their metabolic rate and get everything out of them, okay? And basically, Epsome salt is X-Lax, just so that you understand where this is coming from. It will make them poop beyond recognition, okay? Now, the second thing you need to do after the Epsome salts, if you get them to relieve themselves, is you want to go with a mild treatment of metronidazole, just in case some hexamida developed while that fish, the internal guts were completely compacted with debris and food that wasn't passing, okay? These are the most common ailments. This is what I get called on a daily basis, and so it's very easy for me to talk about them and give you results. So hopefully you guys are maintaining your tanks and you're not ever going to see any of these. But if you do, here's a little quick remedies. And if you have any questions, guys, just keep them coming the way you've been doing. Any specific questions, I realize that we go into general because we don't want to make these videos too long, but we're here to help. And we appreciate the fact that you guys are sending us thank you notes on all facets, on Facebook, by email, you're calling us up. We thank you. We appreciate the fact that you're looking at our videos, and we will continue to bring you even more. So once again, thank you for coming and listening to me rant. At the same token, helping you guys out. Have a great one.